Welcome to another AP Human Geography topic walkthrough, brought to you by Mr. Michael, Social Studies teacher. This video is here to help you fill out your lecture notes, understand the big ideas, and maybe even laugh once or twice. So grab your notes and let's get started.
Welcome to Topic 2.2, Consequences of Population Distribution. In other words, what actually happens when a lot of people live in one place? And what happens when they don't? Whether it's crowded cities, wide-open rural areas, or something in between, population patterns affect everything from jobs and traffic to how long it takes your pizza to get delivered. Let's break it down. Here's what you'll be able to do by the end of this video, besides win an argument about why city traffic is a form of population-based suffering. First, you'll explain how where people live affects the environment and natural resources, from air pollution and deforestation to water shortages and the battle over who gets the last avocado toast. Second, you'll explain how population density increases the demand for infrastructure and urban services, including things like sanitation, education, healthcare, and utilities. Because when millions of people share one power grid and 6 public restrooms, things get interesting. Population distribution and density don't just mess with land and water, they impact everything: your money, your education, your government, and even the air you breathe. That's where this ESPN model comes in. No, not that ESPN, there's no football here. It stands for economic, social, political, and natural effects. Think of it as your 4-part decoder ring for how geography connects to real life. Economically, high population density can mean booming cities with jobs and innovation, or unemployment and income inequality if resources can't keep up. Socially, it affects things like education, healthcare, culture, and even what languages you hear on the street. Politically, dense areas often have more influence, more votes, more policies, and yes, more drama. And naturally, the environment takes a hit. Pollution increases, resources get stretched, and sustainability becomes a daily challenge. So when we ask how population affects society and the environment, the real answer is, in just about every way you can think of. Let's connect the dots between population density and the services we rely on every day. Whether it's getting to school, calling 911, or taking out the trash, population distribution affects how easy or hard it is to get basic services. High-density areas usually have better access to housing, jobs, clean water, sanitation, healthcare, police, fire stations, public transit, and yes, trash pickup. Why? Because when people are packed together, it's actually cheaper and more efficient to serve them. Think about it, one bus can pick up 30 people in a city block. That same bus would travel miles to serve a rural area. But don't get it twisted. Just because it's easier logistically doesn't mean it's cheap. Serving millions of people still costs serious money, and if a city grows too fast, services can't keep up. On the flip side, rural areas may have fewer people, but they also have fewer hospitals, schools, and transit options, because it's just not efficient to build tons of facilities far apart. So whether you're in a city, a suburb, or the middle of nowhere, population density directly affects the quality and availability of services, and that shapes your economic opportunities, your social life, and even your political influence. Let's dive into the economic side of population distribution, or, as I like to call it, why everyone wants to move to the same few cities and then complain about rent. First up, competition for jobs. In densely populated areas, there are more jobs, especially in tertiary sectors like tech, finance, and services, but also more people applying for them. Welcome to the resume Hunger Games. Population density also connects to urbanization. As manufacturing and industrialization took off, people moved to cities looking for work. Today, cities are where the action is, especially for service-based industries. But here's the catch: uneven population distribution equals uneven development. In places with scattered or rural populations, people often earn lower wages, have less access to services, and face fewer opportunities overall. That leads to regions being less developed, not because the people aren't hardworking, but because the infrastructure and economic activity just isn't there. So yes, Living in a major city can open doors, but it also means you might be paying $15 for a sandwich and dodging scooters on the sidewalk. Let's talk politics, but don't worry, this isn't a family dinner, it's just geography. Population distribution has a huge impact on representation in government. In the US, we divide the country into electoral districts, and each one has to have roughly the same number of people. That's so everyone's vote has equal weight, whether you live in a city or out in the sticks. The number of people in your area even determines how many representatives you get in Congress. So yes, the census every 10 years? That's not just about counting people, it's about political power. After the census, the government starts redistricting, which is a fancy way of saying they redraw the voting maps. And if you've ever heard the word gerrymandering, this is where things get spicy. Areas with high population growth might gain more seats. Areas that shrink? They could lose influence. So population isn't just a number, it shapes who gets to make decisions, pass laws, and control resources. TLDR, more people equals more power, but also more pressure to keep things fair. Now we're into the natural side of population, where the earth starts raising its eyebrows and muttering, "You've got to be kidding me." First up is a big idea we've seen before, carrying capacity. That's the maximum number of people an environment can support without running out of resources or completely falling apart. Think of it like the limit at an all-you-can-eat buffet. At some point, somebody's not getting dessert. In areas with high population density, the environment gets hit hard. There's pressure on farmland, we need more food. Water supplies shrink, because millions of people brushing their teeth adds up. Energy use explodes, and the result? Hello, air and water pollution. Just look at this air quality map of eastern China. That dark red zone? It's not jam for your toast, it's PM 2.5 pollution, and breathing it is like smoking 40 cigarettes a day. Yikes. Overpopulation can also lead to waste management problems, resource shortages, and environmental damage that's hard to undo. In short, if population is the pressure, the environment is the balloon, and we don't want it to pop. Alright, that brings us to the end of this topic, consequences of population distribution. We've seen how population patterns don't just sit on a map, they shape the way we build cities, pass laws, use resources, and solve real-world problems. Make sure your notes are solid, don't forget to review them. You can always go back to pause and replay anything that made your brain go, wait, what? And, most importantly, keep connecting what you learn here to the world around you. If this video helped, give it a like, maybe share it with a friend, and subscribe for more APHG breakdowns. See you in the next one.